I gotta start working on this Sean Strickland episode. Let me find something to wear.
Wait, are you a homosexual? You, bro. I look at you, and there's an urge in me to like do a horrible act to you. Have I sucked on a few toes here and there? Yeah, but I mean, it's more of just like, why not try some shit? It's not something I want to do. I mean, you ever had your toes sucked on?
Brace yourself for an emotional roller coaster as we dive into the compelling saga of Sean Strickland, a name that evokes both admiration and controversy in the MMA world. From shocking tales of headbutting his father to the triumphant climb to becoming a world champion. Join us as we unravel the layers of Sean's extraordinary journey, a story that transcends the Octagon. Sean's life is a mosaic of trauma and triumph. Born in the modest town of Corona, California, with limited prospects and a backdrop of challenges, Sean Strickland's life took an unexpected turn. The failures of the school system, his city's largest employer, pushed him into homeschooling, an experience that exposed him to both the lack of support and darkness within his own family. Homeschooling became both a refuge and a curse. Removed from the public eye, Sean's struggles were amplified, the lack of support echoing in the hallways of his own home. As Sean recalls his elementary school years, a chilling reality emerges. The fear of his father's violence loomed large, so palpable that he went to bed each night fearing for his mother's life. Repressed memories and bad dreams became nightly companions, a stark contrast to the typical concerns of a child. Sadly, the truth is, the two most influential men of his life devastatingly failed him. His father was one of those men. The other was his grandfather. He would introduce Sean to the likes of neo-Nazis. The toxic influence of his grandfather and the turbulent relationship with his father set the stage for a tumultuous journey, one where hatred and confusion were constant companions. Yet, even amid these shadows, seeds of resilience were planted, waiting to sprout and shape the man he would become today. As we delve deeper into Sean Strickland's narrative, we confront the profound impact of familial scars and the struggle for identity in the world that often fails to provide support and understanding needed. The Octagon, which would later become his arena of triumphs, initially emerged as a battleground for survival against the echoes of a troubled past. Shortly after being expelled from high school for a hate crime, in a desperate attempt, his mother brought Sean to an MMA gym, a pivotal moment that would shape his destiny. In the intricate tapestry of Sean's journey, the discovery of fighting emerged as an epiphany of a lifetime. It became his calling, his path to becoming a professional fighter. As we often jest on this channel, Sean found his niche, punching people in the face for a living, navigating through the series of unsuccessful attempts to assimilate into society through the public school system. The young man, now entangled in neo-Nazi beliefs and harboring intense hatred, stood at a precarious crossroads. At the age of 18, he made a decisive choice. He dropped out of school to devote himself entirely to training. 2 years later, despite holding an impressive 5-0 record in King of the Cage, success remained elusive. Faced with limited options in his hometown, Sean took a route similar to many Americans in similar situations. He enlisted in the army. However, there was a hurdle. Having dropped out of school, Sean lacked a diploma, requiring him to earn his GED to enlist. Determined, he enrolled in community college to accrue the necessary credits. True to the Sean Strickland manner, a twist occurred. In the pursuit of his goals, Sean found himself entangled in a fight that resulted in 2 felonies, adding another layer of complexity to his already tumultuous journey. This pivotal moment drew Sean back into the world of MMA. Bailed out by representatives of King of the Cage, he was offered another chance to fight in South Africa, providing him with another opportunity to pursue his dreams. Sean seized this chance, embarking in a remarkable journey in King of the Cage. A 7-fight win streak crowned him the middleweight champion, defending the title successfully 4 times. His stellar performance caught the attention of Dana White and the UFC. Making the realization of a long-awaited dream, his UFC debut pitted him against tough participant Bubba McDaniel, a challenge Sean embraced with determination. In a single round, he disposed of the tough alumni. Over the next 3 years, Sean compiled a 5-1 record, earning a shot against future Hall of Famer Kamaru Usman at UFC 210. Although the Nigerian Nightmare secured a unanimous decision victory over Sean, he bounced back after 7 months with a triumphant unanimous decision against Court McGee. However, the fateful year of 2018 would bring significant challenges. In UFC 224 Brazil, Sean faced defeat against Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos in the first round, marking his second loss in the UFC. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a tumultuous period. In the winter of 2018, Sean's life took a drastic turn into a motorcycle accident. Struck by a vehicle while riding at 45 miles per hour, he suffered severe injuries, including a torn patella tendon and blunt trauma. Doctors initially deemed his fighting career over, but Sean sought a second opinion from the UFC PI doctors, who encouraged him to strive for a comeback. The road to recovery mirrored the challenges of his personal life, with obstacles ranging from medical advisories against his fighting to bouts of self-doubt and depression. 3 months later, Sean faced the prospect of a quadricep surgery with a 13-month recovery period. Against the odds, he opted out of the surgery. Almost 2 years post-accident, Sean made a remarkable return to the ring at UFC Fight Night Hall vs. Silva on October 31st, 2020. Defeating Jack Marshman via unanimous decision, his winning streak continued, overcoming notable opponents like Uriah Hall and Brendan Allen. Yet, challenges persisted. The middleweight division, dominated by Israel Adesanya, posed hurdles for Sean's title aspirations, specifically with the emergence of Alex Pereira. Fate intervened, and Sean had to face Pereira at UFC 276. UFC 276 brought another setback for Sean. Knocked out by Pereira in under 2 rounds, he faced a devastating defeat. Pereira went on to challenge Adesanya at UFC 281, creating a different narrative. 6 months later, Sean faced Jared Cannonier at the UFC Apex, aiming to stay relevant in the middleweight division. In a closely contested split decision, Sean, despite officially losing the fight, gained numerous fans and showcased his skills inside and outside of the cage. Since his accident, Sean underwent a character development chapter, transforming into a fan favorite despite the challenges. He was on a losing streak, an unfamiliar territory in his career. In an effort to revive his title hopes, Sean took on the next 2 fights, returning to the Octagon almost a month to date. This time, he headlined UFC Fight Night at light heavyweight against Nassourdine Imavov, securing another unanimous decision in a grueling 5-round battle. Fight fans began to embrace Sean's loud and uncensored interview style, appreciating his authenticity. The UFC, recognizing Sean's efforts, rewarded him with another headline spot at UFC on ESPN Strickland vs. Magomedov. Facing a rising challenger, Sean once again surpassed expectations, defeating his opponent in just 2 rounds with unprecedented dominance. While Adesanya had just defeated Pereira in a spectacular rematch to claim the middleweight title, he now faced a surging Strickland. Destiny led them to the Octagon on September 10th, 2023 at UFC 293. Despite arguments about the opportunity being undeserved, Sean had been taking on challenges consistently, and at UFC 293, he shocked the combat sports world by dominating the living legend, Israel Adesanya, in a manner that we have never seen before. The victory came via unanimous decision after 5 rounds, earning Fight of the Night honors. Today, Sean stands as the new middleweight champion, while Adesanya contemplates his return. Time and the UFC wait for no one, not even Hall of Fame fighters. It was quickly announced that Sean would defend his newly acquired belt against Dricus du Plessis, DDP. Dricus, coming off a win over Robert Whittaker, earned a shot at the belt. The build-up to UFC 297 has been intense, with DDP triggering the new champ by bringing up past traumas, speculating about Sean's father doing more than beating him. This sets the stage for UFC 297, where Sean defends his middleweight title against DDP. The storyline is compelling, and the anticipation is high. Now, for some final thoughts on Sean Strickland's remarkable journey.
Have to admit, Sean Strickland is definitely an interesting character. His fighting style is unique. The way he goes about his life is unique. But something that stuck out to me while making this episode was the motorcycle accident. I think we don't talk about that enough. The way he behaves and the shit he says and the way he comports himself. Although many people like it, in some cases glorify it, or even egg him on, I don't necessarily believe this is entirely Sean Strickland in his full sense, or even like that he's entirely okay. The truth is, dude was in a really bad accident, took a giant knock to the head. Although Sean tells us that the doctors told him there is no brain injuries, I find that hard to believe. How do you not have any type of brain damage when you hit your head so hard it turned off for hours? And I think that's where his new persona comes from. A combination of both. It's CTE, which we cannot diagnose until the person's passed away, and the nature of his job exposes him to constant CTE. So I wouldn't be surprised if later in life we find out that he did suffer from CTE and that the motorcycle accident accelerated that. Now, does that justify the shit he says, or does that what's the word I'm looking for here? Does that make it okay for the things he says or the way he says it? Absolutely not. But it does add an explanation, and it helps you understand where his persona comes from. All of it is built up trauma. All of it from the get-go. The man knows nothing else. And money, fame, and a brain injury is the way he's relieving that trauma right now. Now, here's the thing. Do I think he's a good guy or a bad guy? That doesn't matter. That's up to you to decide. But I do want to make you aware that he did suffer from a pretty big accident. And, you know, any doctor will tell you that if you go through an accident like that, your head does not come unscathed from it. There is for sure damage. Maybe there wasn't a brain bleed or an aneurysm or something like that, but he for sure is suffering from not only trauma, but also a brain injury. And I hope that this doesn't end up going in a dark path where months from now we hear that Sean has done something so stupid that it's not just speaking of things, because he constantly speaks about how he wants to kill a man, or even how he wants to inflict damage to other people. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be something a lot of us are going to be looking forward to. Apologies for all the sound. We are right here. But hopefully this episode helps add some clarification on who the man is outside of the ring, and you understand him a little bit more. And I don't expect you to like the guy, but however, I think that telling his full story from the beginning will help understand why he says the thing he says, why he acts the way he acts. Because very much like a feral dog, Sean Strickland grew up in the wild. Now, I'll pretty much leave it there, and I'll give you a little teaser of what's to come, because look at where I'm at now. If you know, you know.